Welcome to USPAACC Northeast Regional Chapter's Business Leadership Series, Real Talk, Outsmarting Scams and Cyber Threats. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. Every 39 seconds, a cyber attack hits somewhere on the web. Last year alone, global losses to online scams and fraud topped over $10 billion. The question isn't if you'll be targeted, it's when. How many of you have ever received a suspicious email or text? Congratulations, you've been on the front line of today's digital battlefield. The purpose of this Real Talk is to help you prepare for this digital battlefield with two esteemed panelists, Camellia Chan, CEO and co-founder of Flexxon Group, and Leng Lim, VP of Design Engineering, Personal Systems at HP. Hi, Leng. Hi, Cam.
Hi.
Now I'd like to invite our panelists to introduce themselves in a bit more details.
I go first?
Yes, please.
So thank you, Jen, for such a kind introduction, and also big thank you to my good friends, Leng, for always being so supportive and jumping in today and share your real life stories and how's your cyber practice at HP. Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to be here with USPAACC community again. So these cyber threats, they are not just for the big companies, and they are not just big business problem. They affect all of us, small business owner, remote team, and everyday people like you and me, just trying to stay safe online. So today I'm going to share some of the practical tips and the tools they can actually being used. And I'm not going to throw technical jargon at you, but just a little bit of the tips and how can we protect your team and keep things running safely.
Thanks,
Cam.
Cam.
Hey, this is Leng. Thank you, Jen, and also thank you, Cam, for inviting me to first time at USPAACC. Great to meet a lot of new friends. So I'm here also to learn from Cam. We will all learn something together from the audience as well.
Learn from each other.
Yes, we're here to learn from each other and then raise awareness on this real issue, right? So, and I lead design engineering at HP. I've been with HP for about 15 years now. So happy to join this community. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, and welcome to the program. And I am Genevieve Kay, your moderator and business strategist at X5 Inc., a cybersecurity company under Flexxon Group. For today's Real Talk, Outsmarting Scams and Cyber Threats, we will be discussing 3 of the highest pressure digital scam tactics. If I could have the next slide, please. One more. 3 of the highest pressure digital scam tactics: phishing, unsecure networks, and deep fake deception. For the program, in order to engage with you, our audience, we prepare several polls throughout the program. Let's start with this warm-up poll. Next slide. Which of the following tools does your company use? Select all that apply. We'll give you about a minute or two to complete the poll, and then we'll share the results actually right afterwards. Danny, do you have the result for us?
Yes, we're still holding up for 20 more seconds.
Oh, okay.
All right. So in first place, we got antivirus, then followed by firewalls. And then third is endpoint detection and response.
Wow, the responses are as expected. We actually expected antivirus to be the #1 answer. Firewalls, actually, you know what? It's the answers are very well represented with antivirus being the #1, firewall 2, and endpoint detection and response 3. So thank you so much for participating in the poll. So
I think this is the expected result.
yeah, it is. It really
Yeah.
is. So phishing a cyber threat that's not just targeting big corporations anymore. Small businesses are now the prime target because attackers know that you don't have an IT team looking after your inbox. One cleverly worded email could trick an employee into handing over passwords, payment info, or worse. In this session, we'll break down what these attacks look like and how to spot them and how to keep your business safe. So now come to the first poll of the actual presentation. Poll #1, have you ever received a phishing email? Please answer with yes, no, or I don't know. Wow, 100% of you said yes. Well, again, this is as expected. I think Cam and Leng are not surprised. Now let's look at some of the some examples on the screen of phishing attempts. So, next slide. We encourage you to interact with the presentation, so feel free to type your answer or comment in the chat. You can see these are all different variations of the same tactics: impersonating authority, creating urgency, and enticing people with offers that are too good to be true. So Cam, can you give us a bit more context about the example that we're looking at right now? I believe this is an email that was sent to you.
Yeah, I think the result is expected 100%. Everybody will receive the phishing email, right? So even we as a cybersecurity companies, we get phishing email all the time. It's almost every day. I mean, the scammers, they are trying to impersonating me, just like this example on the screen. It looks as a legitimate, right? It's so polite, well written, and even sign off as me, but which is a completely fake one. And also, when you think further and you look closer, right, and you ask yourself, as a vendor, would the CEO really be the one that chasing after your account payable? I mean, that's the kind of red flag that we need to train ourselves and also our team to spot. And also from this example, it tells us that nobody is really immune, no matter how tech savvy or how well prepared you are.
Yeah, at HP actually, our cyber team does regular training. I wouldn't say training, testing. They will send out this kind of fake emails to caught us off guard. And the last one, I think that was like I was caught off guard was like an email from HR. They pretend to be HR, right? So, but it's good that it's a training to raise awareness, I think, for the teams, right? So because every person, every endpoint becomes a vulnerability. So everybody has to work together to you know, not be vulnerable. So the key thing is to raise awareness.
Yeah. So in the next slide, it's creating an urgency to prompt you to download a bad file, right? Cam, do you want to comment on this one?
The 2FA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this email look legitimate, and I mean, more importantly, that the phrases is like create the urgency, and it push you to act immediately and create the panics so that you will immediately act on it.
Yes.
So, I mean, for phishing attack, when you are receive emails, so basically the scammer, they are not just trying to hack your system, they are trying to hack the people. They are trying to manipulate your trust in order to gain your credentials. So there are many techniques in order to achieve such a purpose. Like this one, yeah, create the fierce urgency for you to act on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's always, even no matter how urgent it sounds, double check. I would say double check, right? If I receive a weird email from Cam, right? Always like I can use my WhatsApp to double check with her if she sent me something, check the email address to make sure it's the right, the right legitimate email address, right? Always use a second channel to double check that this is before you click on anything. I think they want to show urgency in order for you to skip that checking part of it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a part of the social engineering.
Yeah. And in the next slide, we won't go, okay. So, actually for our panelists, can you tell us why downloading these files are so dangerous? Why clicking on the links are so dangerous? What can they do when you click on these files or links?
Yeah,
I mean,
it basically hack into your hardware, right? You allow them by clicking, you give them consent to, to hack into your
granted the
hardware.
access.
Yeah.
And more importantly, when you download the file, it could be the malware. So once you injected the malware could be stay at your system and continue to capture, I mean, all your sensitive data or even steal your credentials at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not even for enterprise, it's not just this endpoint that's getting hacked, right? It may go through the network, right, to your enterprise data as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of information. There's a big risk whenever you click on these bad files, right? So then there is also AI. AI fueled a 1,065% surge in phishing emails since 2022. I mean, the statistics, this is like a 1,300% increase in phishing emails. And with 45% of ransomware attacks starting with phishing. So you want to be very, very careful with these phishing emails. So to simply put, phishing works because it exploits human psychology, not just technology, right? It preys on emotion, it mimics trust, it looks legit, and it's personalized. So Cam, can you elaborate on how AI plays a part in advancing phishing attacks?
I totally agree with you that AI has really completely changed the game because scammers are getting smarter, which technology is kind of like helping them. So today, phishing email often use the AI to craft the message that look incredibly real. So think perfectly the mimic logo, the personalized details, and or even the grammars that spot on. And based on the statistic numbers, there are over 95% of the cybersecurity experts say that AI-generated phishing is a growing threat, and it's something that I completely agree with too. So these evolutions make the phishing kind of like a massive threat because it's harder than ever to spot, especially for SME that with limited IT resources. But no matter what, I mean, we have to, like Ling have mentioned, the cyber educations, the awareness, which is very important that you have to continue training your team to ensure that to keep up with the cyber hygienes and the awareness.
Yeah, I agree. I think the acceleration, right? So it means I'm worried also, like, oh, every other email I'm getting, there's a risk, right? So how do you counter when the vast amount now is like, oh, maybe every 50 emails, there may be one phishing one. So you have to get put your guard up all the time, right? So I think that's a big challenge for us as well.
So
That's
Leng,
why
on
we
the
need
back of that,
technology.
Yes,
yeah.
we have technologies to help.
Yeah. So on the back of that, can you share what policies or rules are in place at HP to address this issue?
I think for the larger enterprise, of course, we have a lot of cyber training, right, to raise awareness. Like I said, we also have tests. They will test us and then educate us on, okay, these are the type of emails you have to check on these. Don't just click on the link. But in enterprise, because we have so many emails coming in every day, people are just worried about clearing their inbox, right? So to get work done. So sometimes, it's not even intentional. You might be a little bit tired. You didn't double check, right? That's a human nature, right? So yeah, so some of the tools, like good hardware, for example, HP's Wolf security on our PCs, right? Similar to the hardware security Flexxon offers, also offers, certain I would say security features, right, to help you. So having good hardware is also important, right? Not just software, right, to help you I would say ease the load on your employees, right, to protect them, right? I think it needs to be all of it working together. Yeah.
Thanks, Leng. So we also conducted a pre-webinar seminar where a lot of you indicated interest in hardware security. Cam, what role does hardware play in cybersecurity, particularly in phishing?
So when people think of phishing, they usually think of email scam or social engineering trick, right? But what often overlooked is what happened after someone clicked the link. That's where our hardware cybersecurity features come in. So once a phishing attempt is successful, the attacker's goal is usually to gain access to your system, your files, to access your network, your data. And if your protection only sit at the upper layer, which is a software level, then you have a gaps, because software basically they sit within the layer that they are constantly evolving with, have to deal with countless variables, and it's always require humans for the constant updating or the human decision. Should you allow this program to continue or not? So because it's rely on kind of like a database approach for software, so it have no way to detect the unknown threats. So what is unknown threat? Unknown threats means that so it's like a policeman, you catch a criminal. So basically the criminal who already commit the crime, so their name list is actually appear in the database. It's same thing like for software, so they only catch the threats which is already exist in the database, but they have no way to catch someone who have ill intentions that going to commit the crime. We call it as a zero-day threats. And hardware which close this kind of gaps. So for instance, our X5 technology that embedded the AI right into the memory layers, where that is where your data residing. So even if someone, your staff or yourself, you might be clicking on the malicious link or the unknown, open up the unknown file. So when X5 is watching what happened next, it look for the abnormal behavior at the physical layer for like maybe the unusual data transfer or the cloning attempts. And the moment that when something is off, then the features, the protections mechanism will step in autonomously by itself. It doesn't wait for the software update or the human response at all. So it just lock things down in real time. So in short, hardware, it play the roles as your last line of defense without humans' decision. I like to say that software keep the street safe, so it protect your environmental safe, but hardware keep your most precious variable secure, which is your like your safe vault sitting inside your household or inside your office.
That's a really good analogy. Due to the interest in the hardware security from the webinar questionnaire and the limited time to discuss it here, we would be happy to connect with you to share more about hardware security. If there will be a QR code at the end of the session for you to show your interest, and then we will reach you when we have those sessions in the future. So the next topic that we'll discuss is unsecure networks. Okay, so now we work remotely more than ever, right? Connecting to public Wi-Fi can pose significant risk. Even a quick login at a coffee shop can expose you to numerous threats. Let's look at how to mitigate this growing threat. There is a poll now. Have you ever connected public Wi-Fi network? Please take a minute to respond. And it looks like you've already done it.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Another 100% of you, another 100% answer from all of you. Basically, you've connected to public Wi-Fi before. This is not surprising. We expected this. So in the next slide, Cam, can you comment on this McDonald's Wi-Fi? What is wrong with this McDonald's Wi-Fi? It looks really legitimate to me.
Yeah, this is a very good example that show on the screen, McDonald's Wi-Fi. The attacker can actually set up fake Wi-Fi hotspot that look legitimate and trying to trick the user into connecting so that they can steal your sensitive information or even trick you to download certain things and inject the malware. So maybe let me give you a simple analogy here. How when you are actually connecting to the unsecured network, is like leaving your front door locked. The front door unlocked in a busy neighborhood, so everybody can just walk in, and you are leaving your door open, and which is very dangerous, and you are inviting the cyber criminal to come in to exploit as well. So it's like you are putting all your valuables stuff on display for anyone to take, especially if you are connecting to the network that isn't password protected or even not encrypted. Then your data, everything including your email or your login credentials, can be intercepted by attackers using just simple tools.
Leng, I wonder if you could comment from the perspective of management. What can you do to protect your business and employees?
Yeah, I think for enterprise, most enterprise has a VPN, right, to encrypt, right? So also we don't want them to, we want to avoid logging into sensitive accounts if we really have to use, public Wi-Fi, as Cam mentioned, try to minimize it as much as possible. Use something that has a password, right? So and then of course disable file sharing and stuff like that. You want to minimize this as much as possible. Yeah. To zero, right, if possible, because enterprise data is very, very precious, right? So of course HP also offers, our Wolf Security has a protection of a Sure Access Enterprise that protects sensitive data systems and applications in all our PCs, right? So that's another one that we do build into our systems to try to, in case users really have no choice, right, the data is still protected. And then of course we have systems we call Sure Recover, where if the system is attacked by malware and has to go down, we can recover the previous version of the BIOS so that there's no downtime, right, in case you're traveling. Usually this kind of things for enterprise users happens when they're traveling, right?
Yeah, I think Leng sharing more from a corporate perspective. Probably I can share from an SME perspective. Yeah, so for Flexxon side, we just adopt some simple framework, and you can consider to implement the same thing. So for protection, every one of our team, they were given the endpoint, our X5 endpoint laptops, which is with our X5 SSD indeed, which I have shared and mentioned earlier on. So when the staff or the team clicking on any phishing email that trigger the unknown threats or the zero-day attack, this endpoint X5 security will be able to lock down your data, so your data will still clean and safe. So for prevention side, we are trying to educate the staff, and then we enforce the strong password, and also we have to enforce for using 2FA. As for response side, we have a clear plan. So if something goes wrong, something happened, that have a clear protocol that who to call and what to shut down for the IT. But for some of the SME, you might have limited IT resources. My suggestion is you can actually work with some of the fractional IT support and continue working on having a plan for some of the audits or the pen tests. Yeah, that's my suggestion.
Really good suggestions from both enterprise and SME. So and I really hope that you find these suggestions helpful. So now we are actually going to our third topic and our final topic of today, deepfake. Basically, deepfakes is the modern day wolf in digital sheep's clothing. With just a few clicks and the right software, anyone can create a video of a world leader declaring war or peace, a CEO announcing fake earnings, or even you saying something you never said. It's not sci-fi anymore. It's here, it's convincing, and it's actually spreading very, very fast. As business owners and everyday digital citizens, the question isn't just, can we spot it? But how do we protect ourselves before the damage is done? Now to our third poll. Have you questioned the authenticity of videos you've seen on social media over the last year? Yes, no, or I don't know. Wow, 50-50. Split right down the middle. We'll give it a little bit. There's still about 15 seconds left. Okay. We'll go to the next slide. I think this is going to be very, very interesting. So let's go to the next slide. Do you think these two Brad Pitts look alike? Maybe I should have asked this to be the poll. I know what many of you are thinking. I would never get tricked by a fake Brad Pitt asking me for help, right? I mean, really, why would you ever believe that? But I think for the scammers, it's precisely this attitude that we have that we would never get tricked that they prey on. We all think this way, but yet we fall for deepfakes. This is actually a real incident from last year of a man who used deepfake technology to pretend to be Brad Pitt. He built a relationship with a Spanish woman, making her believe they were dating, and stole $850,000 US from her.
Because we are human.
Yes, because we are human and we want to believe what we want to believe, right? Because obviously she wanted to believe that Brad Pitt was her boyfriend.
No, emotion always take over what is sensible.
Yeah, so scammers, they prey on our psychology, not technology, like I said earlier, right? And how about the next slide? Basically, a finance worker pays out $25 million after a deepfake call. Well, after a call with a deepfake CEO, right? And then Indonesian people swindled by scam using their president deepfakes. I mean, there's a lot more of these examples on the internet if you go and look. So, Cam, what's your perspective on deepfakes? What challenges do they bring to small businesses? And are there any solutions?
Challenges. I think as a human being, as I mentioned, because we are only human, so sometimes the emotion take over what should be or what is sensible, right? And our habit used to trust what we see and what we hear. We just believe without even thinking twice. When we trust the person, we look at the person's face, the video, the sounds that we are familiar to. Yeah. So I think this is the biggest challenges that the deepfake is trying to compromise the human.
Yep, I think this is a tough one. Yeah, maybe Cam, you are coming up with new technologies that can help us here. I don't have a good answer for this one.
Yeah, and you know, that's Leng, you work for HP, you know, we all count on the people that make the machines to really have, so that coming from you, it's you know, it's really daunting. I'm starting to think, and this, I have young children, and I can tell you that this is one of my biggest fears right now. I am no longer posting their photos on the internet. I am no longer recording them because I don't want their images and their sound to be captured anywhere to be used against us in the future. So, Cam.
But trust me, as long as you are connected, you are online, I mean, you can't be running away from this, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's better to have solutions that can help you, right? Have tools that can help you. Cam, do you want to talk about possible tools?
Yeah, first of all, I need to highlight how serious about the deepfake attack today, because based on the Gartner report, they predict that by next year, 50% of the businesses will face deepfake fraud. So small businesses are especially vulnerable because they often lack of the resources to respond quickly. But the good news here is just coincidentally today, X5 we announced the launch of our own solutions, the X5 deepfake detector. So it's designed to make the deepfake identification more accessible and detachable in just simply one click. Yeah. I mean, if you are keen, we will be happy to share more after this section.
Well, that's exciting. It really is exciting. I am really looking forward to see the demo. I know that you're planning on launching it soon, next week at RSA. So, I mean, for those of you who are going to RSA, please come and visit Cam. She will give you that demo. Hopefully
you have a special privilege service from me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and you know, for me, it's really important. I want to have this so that no one can pretend to be my kids. No one can pretend to send me anything with their images or their voices. So this is really critical. But besides deepfake detector, is there anything else that we can do to guard against deepfake? Any best practices for either one of our panelists actually on this question?
Maybe I go first.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, first thing first, we have to evaluate the risk based on what is at stake. Is there money involved or any sensitive assets like your account, your credentials? So if yes, always step back, especially when it involves the higher value, it means that the higher the risk. So you have to ask yourself, when this topic come up, is this topic expected? Has the person ever talked to you about this before? I mean, if this come out all of a sudden out of the blue, especially with the tones with very urgent or secrecy, then it should raise a red flag. And also when you feel the tones feel off, right? Or maybe too rush, people are rushing you, you have to act on it quickly, or maybe secrecy that too private, that they remind you not to tell someone, or just not the way that how they usually talk. So that is the time that you have to really pause, questions, and verify. And how to verify? Maybe I give you some tips. So first of all, you don't just call back the same number or reply to the same message. You have to use the number that you have saved, or I mean, even check on the past email conversation, or maybe the person trying to treat you like, oh, I have changed my number, but you still have to try the old number and see that what is the response there. And another tips is you can ask some questions that only both of you know, or something that from the past conversation. If you still unsure, Leng have mentioned, always go for the second channel. Maybe text me on the WhatsApp or email, or maybe ask somebody that close to the person. So the key highlight here is do not trust by default. Always verify as a habit. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, so in the CFO case, then you can check with the chief of staff or the CFO, right? Double check, right, to make sure before, especially when something big is at stake, right? It's big money or things, big decisions and things like that. So I think that's the best way against it right now. I think they are on the web say, hey, check for oddity. Sometimes the AI generates 6 fingers instead of 5 fingers. AI makes some mistakes these days as well. But I'm sure the technology is going to get better and better, and then it's gonna look more real. Yeah, with time.
Yeah, and I always think that, AI benefits the good guys as well as the bad guys equally. But now I'm starting to think that maybe it benefits the bad guys a little more, because they're willing to do more things with the technology than the good guys are willing to use the technology for, right? So they use it for bad things. And so thank you so much for participating in this session. Please scan the QR code to gain access to Flexxon's webinars in the future on hardware cybersecurity and deepfake detector if you are interested. So basically, officially, we are reaching the end of the session. I want to give our panelists an opportunity to give their last advice for our audience. We'll start with Leng.
Yeah, as we mentioned, double check is key, right? So don't be rushed emotionally. I think that's what the phishing scams, the scammers are trying to take advantage of your emotions. So so raise awareness with your team, right? With the people, every point could be a vulnerability. So you want to make sure everyone is educated, on the types, or, how it's progressing in this industry, right? So part of this, I think USPAACC is trying to do, having these sessions, is to raise awareness. So thank you for inviting us, right? So I would say together, if any questions, feel free to reach out as well. I think together we continue to learn more, right? So that we can defend against, this scammers trying to make use of technology for not good things, right? So yeah. And then of course, then we have Cam trying to make use of technology for good things with AI, right? How to detect deepfakes too. Cam, over to you.
Okay. So I would like to wrap up with 3 key components. people, process, and technology that have to work together. So people, we are trying to build the cultures of security awareness. Process, we are trying to adopt the zero trust habit, always verify, as Leng have emphasized. And as for technology, try to use the tools and protect, especially when human miss or sleep. So like the hardware-based protections that doesn't require any humans interventions or the updates or alert. And one last thing that I hope the key takeaway today is not, I mean, the mindset, which is not, why would someone target me? But rather, you have to think about how can I make myself harder to be tricked? Yeah, that's the key takeaway that I will be given to the audience.
Perfect. Yeah. So I know that there is a survey that USPAACC would like for you to fill out. So before we go into the Q&A, let me end our session with this. Phishing baits, public Wi-Fi spies, and deepfake lies. So before you click, connect, believe, pause. Exercise a little caution. Actually, exercise a little paranoia. I never thought I would ever say that. Cybersecurity doesn't have to be complicated. It has to be intentional. Thank you for joining us. Now we'll go into the Q&A. So feel free to raise your hand to ask your questions or type them into the chat. Don't see any hands raised. Okay. From Will, is there really a difference between antivirus software? Are there some commercial products better than others? Cam and Lang, did you hear the question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe I take first. I take these questions.
Okay. Thank you.
So as I keep emphasizing, antivirus is like it's a database approach, it's a reactive approach. This is why we always run one step behind of the hackers, because you have to update the database in order to identify who are the threats or who are the bad actors. No matter what, the current cybersecurity solutions, their approach more or less is the same. You have to continue relying on the humans for the constant updating, doing the patches. But if you are looking for something that able to tackle the zero-day attack, I mean, our company's solutions, X5, which is a hardware-based solution, the solution approach is completely different than the software. So the hardware approach, the beauty of the hardware is we are trying to leverage on the such a closed environment. So everything is tied to the physical layer for the protocol and the attribute, and it identify the anomalous kind of how the data being accessed in that particular environment. So it doesn't require based on the definitions library or the database. Maybe let me give you an example here. So software is like you are going through the checkpoint, the immigration officer might be checking your passport, your identity. So all your passport identity actually can be modified. But for X5, it's like we are checking your sweat level, your DNA, which is tied with your physical layer, your body, which you cannot disguise. So when you are panicked, your sweat level, you trembling. So those are the symptoms that you cannot disguise yourself. So that is the beauty of the hardware that are able to detect the threats real time without the database. So that is the differences between the software and the hardware.
We have another
Yes.
question from Alan Mar. Leng, do you have anything to add?
Nothing. I think, yeah, Cam has it very well, right? So I think, antivirus software is just a software layer solution, right? Only for malware, and it's like Cam said, it could be outdated, right? Based on what the list of malware they've seen out there, and there's always new one coming out. So that's the challenge. So cybersecurity is multi-layer. So having, yes, antivirus is one way, but it's not the only way, right?
Yeah, and if you remember the very first questions, right, about all the tools, there was about like 10 of them. Technically, those are all you should have. You should have all of them, not just one or two or a few. So yeah, so I know that is it Martin, Alan Ma? Alan Ma raised, but I don't see the raised hand now anymore. I apologize.
I think he
Hi.
might have
Are you
dropped off.
there?
Oh,
No, I'm still here. My name is Alan Ma. I'm a small business owner of ModTech. We do cybersecurity, but we're not a high-risk target. But I was curious as to, besides defensive tools, what other offensive tools would you apply that you prefer to test your own defensive tools just to verify that they're working correctly?
you're asking how do you test, or what tools to test your own tools, right?
Yes, that you guys have used in your experience being more established business owners with a larger footprint. What do you prefer to use to validate that your tools that you're putting in, whether software or hardware, are working effectively?
Cam, what do you guys use for testing?
I mean, in terms of if you are talking about the user level, right? How do you ensure that the solutions are effective and efficient? Am I right? Not during the development phase, right?
Yes, that's correct. It's in production when to validate that this tool or product is actually working effectively for your organization or for your clients.
So you are referring to the still in the production phase and also the development phase.
Well, ideally, yes. I would expect that you would be validating through the entire process.
So basically, we built the red team. Red team we applied because different solutions, you have different tools to validate your technology, and there are many tools out there, and especially today, leverage on the AI. We have a lot of different tools that apply during the development phases, and even up to the production phases. If you are keen, we can share the tools that we are using separately. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a QR code if you, because I don't think this question will apply generally to the rest of the audience. So please scan Cam's QR code, and we'll put it up again at the end of the session. And I'm sure she will be more than happy to chat with you. Any other questions?
So, but before the Jen, I think HP has a slightly interesting approach that maybe Alan is interested. We do have a white hat hacker. I don't know if you guys know about white hat hacker community, right? That we provide bounties to this community,
Bounty.
like for them. Yes, exactly. For them to try our security, right? And then if they were able to find, they will report it to us with some bounty, right? And then that will help us, find out the loopholes, right, or any vulnerabilities first of our systems, right? I don't know, Alan, if that answers your question.
So the goal in my mind is I want to identify those before it goes to bounty. Otherwise, I would have to pay out bounties when I could have remediated it on my own. So I assumed there was an in-house program that maybe
Yeah.
the recommended way.
I see. We have to use both because even in-house will be limited, right? Yeah, so.
Okay. Any other questions?
There's one, right? How to report a phishing email.
Yes. So there's a new question coming in. How do I report a phishing or suspicious email? Okay.
I don't know if there's a place to report it. Yeah. Oh, at HP, there's a place to report it. For enterprise, right? Our cyber team did, establish like a fish at hp.com to report for any HP employees. But I don't know if like in general public, right, there's a place to report it.
Yeah, Cam, you want to take it?
I think in US there's anti-phishing working group that you can report. Yeah, but I don't think it will help much.
Yeah,
It's
I
more
don't
for your
either.
internal control.
Yeah, because there's just so many of these to report, right?
Yeah.
How are they gonna respond to this? We have about 5 minutes. If no more questions, we can end here. If maybe one more quick question. Okay, without further questions, thank you so much, Cam. Thank you so much, Leng. Thank you, the audience, for joining us. It's been really eye-opening, but I hope that the audience gets some useful information and feel like more comfortable, more empowered to deal with phishing, unsecure networks, and deepfakes. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.